Yo, it's Mega, aka the Art Messiah, here to save your from your art sins. Welcome back to another art tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about how to draw the face from any angle that you can conceive of. Hard angles, difficult angles from behind and front. This is just going to be the beginning though. I want to break this up into some really simple steps because drawing a head can get really difficult and tricky, and you have to think about a whole bunch of anatomy, but we're not going to do that. We're going to simplify it because we're artists, and we're going to figure out how to build it up the correct way. Okay, so what you see right now is some face reference that I have gotten from Sketch Daily, and I want you to do the same. I actually want you guys to follow along in this video if you don't know like this method or exercise, because it's really helpful, and I think it's going to help you guys out a lot. So go to Sketch Daily and get your own references. And if you're working traditionally, use like a magazine like JCPenney's or whatever the case may be that just has a lot of heads and a lot of different poses. And then just grab a Sharpie or something that you can draw over that photo with, okay? All right, so this first step and this first stage, we want to basically kind of build this head like we are making a sculpture. Sculptors, they don't start off with, you know, the details. They start off with big shapes, and that's what we're going to do, big form. Okay, so just like in all the videos we do, pretty much, we are going to start off with a sphere, okay? And forget about the people that say never use circles or never use spheres or anything like that. They're not organic. That's fine. That's fine. We're talking about understanding form right now, and you don't necessarily want to use circles for final details, but we're talking about form. So go ahead and draw a circle to represent the cranial mass. Now just pay attention to basically this edge and this edge. Those are the edges you're pretty much trying to match, and this top edge as well, okay? So it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, as long as it kind of represents the head shape, okay? Because this is just for studying, for practice. Okay, so after we've determined where the sphere kind of sits, we want to think about that form video, and we want to draw the contour of the head. Now, the center horizontally, you're going to notice is going to be where the eyebrows sit. Okay, so we're going to draw that. Now, one thing that I want to point out, and it's not entirely significant for this video, but basically, if you draw through the center of the eyebrows, you are going to see the tilt, okay? And that's what's really important to make note of right now. Notice the tilt of the head is going like that, okay? And then if you remember from the contour video, it needs to wrap around the entire sphere, but you don't have to draw this back line, okay? Because that will just kind of get confusing later in. Okay, so what do we notice right off the bat? Well, this line is curved and it's kind of like frowny face. So that means that we have a worm's eye perspective. We're looking up at that character and up at this person, okay? So I just want to go ahead and point that out. Now, if we do that same thing with the eyes, sometimes I do this because it is helpful to understand where the placement of the ear is. The top of this ear right there is going to be on that same line where the ears are, so I like to draw that in. Now, the second center line we want to draw is the vertical center line, okay? And this is going to show basically the angle of the head. So that means she's looking off onto her left. All right, and so that's our vertical center line, horizontal center line. Now, to represent the form of the rest of the head, we are going to kind of imagine this concept of a piece of paper, okay? So a piece of paper, you know, flat piece of paper. But if you took that piece of paper and you've kind of, you know, pressed it against your face and held that paper on the sides of your face, you would notice that the paper begins to wrap around the head and look something like this. Okay, so that's what we're going to imagine here, and we're going to simplify all these planes down into just one plane that's curved. Okay, so let's go ahead and drop the edge of that piece of paper, okay, and the edge of the piece of paper right here. Okay, now the edge of this piece of paper sits you know, right where this ear is, and the other edge would sit where the other ear is, which would be like somewhere back here. Doesn't have to be really precise, but you know, just kind of drop those lines down, something similar to this. Now the next important line is this chin line, and we know that's that chin because we can see that shadow that falls underneath it. And remember, this is worm's eye view. We're looking up at the character, thus we see the underneath of the chin, and we see that shadow. So we know the chin is right here, and this line needs to follow this line and this line, okay, because that's just kind of like the rules of perspective. We're looking up at it. Okay, and then where this line wraps around, just go ahead and hit that bottom edge of that chin that we can see underneath. And then basically from this end to this end, let's just go ahead and drop in a straight line because we want to just go ahead and show the mass of this. And I'm going to shade in the underneath to be something like this, so you can understand this mass right here. And that's it. That's all we are going to do for this video. I'm also going to drop this center line straight down just like this as well. Okay, and let me go ahead and take off that the actual reference. Okay, this is what we are starting off with, and it looks blocky, and that is completely fine, and kind of goes back to the thing I was talking about, creating a sculpture. Okay, so we have this form. We can go in and we can add details in like crazy, but from this form we can understand the perspective, we can understand where all the features are going to be placed. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do that and start to study that in the next video. Now for the rest of this, I want you guys to actually try this exercise, not with one face, but fill up a whole page. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and kick it into time lapse because I don't want this to be a really long video. I want it to be a short video, and then I'll come back with a few final words. Alright, so there we pretty much have it. You can kind of see me create this mask in all these different angles, even in like extreme angles like this one right here, and you can kind of see how it works, and you can also understand just like the volume of the head and the skull and the jaw coming from it. Now, something that you will notice as you're doing it is that the jaw actually goes in more and like all these different things. And what's really cool about observing those things is that we can then tell like, okay, yeah, this jaw goes in more, this jaw doesn't go in as more. And that's how you get those different facial features, okay? And just different looking characters in general. But if you start with just a block like this, you can chisel it out in any way you like. However, if you already had that chiseled in, you know, you wouldn't have a frame of reference. So right now in this video, we have created that frame of reference. And then in the next video, we're pretty much going to take this and then start breaking it down into more planes so that we can kind of understand the form a little bit more subtly. And then in the third step, we're going to be then adding the features into it. And I think I'm going to pretty much use these head shapes for the other two videos as well, so you guys can see that progression. And even though I don't start off just like this when I'm drawing from imagination, I do like to simplify to something like this because it tells us a lot. Okay, from these heads we can tell where the head is looking, we can tell the perspective, we can tell the tilt and the angle, and most importantly we can tell the form and structure. So hopefully this video was helpful to you guys and provided some insight into how to draw these heads from these multiple angles and keep it consistent. And we're going to keep on talking about that in future videos. So if you have any questions or any concerns, or there's something that like it just doesn't click for you when you're doing this practice, let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for checking out this video, and until next time, peace and love.